ArrowCreek, gated, mountain views, and a golf course. But you don't need me to stand outside and read a name off a brick. You can see the sign. What you actually need is somebody who's inside enough to tell the real story. That's this video, so let's go. A few months ago, I was sitting at a kitchen in the Bay Area. Nice house, big mortgage, and had two people who have worked their entire lives to build something real. And the husband slides a piece of paper across the table to me. It's a number. It was the amount of money that they were sending to Sacramento every single year. Just in state income tax, $78,000. And he looks at me and he says, "We've been doing this for 11 years now." They moved into ArrowCreek just 4 months later. And when I talked to him recently, I heard a version that I've probably heard about a dozen times. She said, "I don't know why we waited this long. It doesn't even feel like we've moved. It feels like something that we stopped tolerating that we never had to tolerate in the first place." That's ArrowCreek. And today, I'm going to show you everything of what it's like to live there. The homes, the commute, the lifestyle, the things that catch people off guard, and the honest trade-offs. Because this community is one of the very best in northern Nevada. And it's absolutely not for everybody. Let's figure out which one applies to you. I'm Chris Rayner and I moved here from California myself in 2015. I still hold a broker's license there and I work both sides of the relocation equation every single week. Which means I've seen what they're leaving and I see what they're walking into. I've been in more ArrowCreek living rooms than I can count. And I've sat at these kitchen tables while people run these numbers for the very first time. And I've seen some of them light up and I've seen some of them look at it, stop and go, "This isn't for us." Both of those outcomes are useful and that's what this video is all about. So if you're thinking about relocating to Reno, there's a link below to get onto my calendar. No sales pitch, just a real conversation. The first thing I usually hear out of any out-of-state buyer is, "It looks incredible, but is it isolated?" And I get it. In California, you've been conditioned to believe that beautiful and convenient are mutually exclusive. If you want the mountains, you pay for it in commute time. But if you want the neighborhood, you give up the views. Well, ArrowCreek breaks all the rules. And here are the actual numbers. I call these the unicorn traffic types, meaning no accidents, no weather delays, and no California tourists trying to parallel park that Sprinter van sideways on Mount Rose Highway. Downtown Reno is 20 minutes. Reno Tahoe Airport is only about 15 to 20 minutes. Getting all the way up to Lake Tahoe is only about 30 to 35 minutes. And the Summit Mall and Costco only 10 to 15 minutes, with Whole Foods being approximately 15 minutes. I had a client, a tech executive, that moved from the East Bay. He told me the first time he left to go catch a flight, he got there in 18 minutes and had to just sit there for a moment. He said he had been conditioned himself for so long to leave for 2 hours early for everything that he genuinely didn't know what to do with the time back. In California, to say you made it to the airport in 20 minutes is something you say when you win the lottery. Here, it's just a Wednesday morning. The phrase that I use here with buyers is ArrowCreek feels tucked away without being 45 minutes away from toothpaste. The balance is genuinely rare in a gated mountain community, and it's a big part of why this neighborhood holds values the way it does. But what does it cost to live here? And more importantly, what does it cost you to not live here? I want to show you how that math changed for one Bay Area couple who are thinking about that decision. Most homes in ArrowCreek are either custom or semi-custom. They are primarily built from the 90s to the 2000s. And typically these homes are going to be between 3,000 and 6,000 square feet. They have big windows and the outdoor living is built right into the house. They come with views that are not an accident. That was the point. Pricing in 2026 runs roughly $1.3 million to $3 million depending on the elevation, lot size, golf course frontage, and how aggressively the previous owner upgraded the interior. And also with a medium sales price of about $1.9 million, then the market here is stable. Sellers are not distressed. Generally, sellers leaving that are either upgrading or downsizing. Now, here's the part about the math that generally changes the entire conversation for relocating Californians. The couple that I mentioned at the top, you know, the ones at the kitchen table. My wife has over 3 decades of escrow and lending experience coupled with the 2 decades I've been in real estate. When she puts a financial picture together, it's not the back of a napkin type of math. It's the real thing. With a combined income of roughly $600,000, California's state income tax on that ran approximately $78,000 a year. Nevada, state income tax on that would have been $0. And they've been paying that gap for 11 years. That's $858,000 before we add anything in for compounding. When Cindy showed them a 10-year compounding projection at only 6% money, that would have gone to Sacramento, redirect that into investments, and it came in at over $1.1 million. The husband went quiet for a second, and then he spoke up. So we paid for a second home that we never got to live in? That's not a sales pitch. That's just the math. So people coming to ArrowCreek from California are not just upgrading the square footage. They're actually correcting a math problem that they've just been living with for years. Now, before we get into lifestyle, there's one thing I need to address first, because it comes up in almost every serious conversation I have with California buyers. And if you're thinking about it right now, then I would rather hit this head on than rather act like it doesn't exist. The question underneath the question, you know, the one that nobody likes to say out loud, but it's still there, is this move a step down? And let's be honest, you've built something real in California. You're not looking to retreat. You're not looking to quietly disappear to a place that nobody's heard of and tell people it's fine. And we get it. You want to make a move that feels like a smart one. It's the one move that successful people make when they stop letting a state government decide what their lifestyle's actually worth. I have a client, a very successful one, who spent 20 years building a great business in the Bay Area. He told me that he almost didn't make the move because he was more concerned about what his colleagues actually thought. He moves in, and 6 months later, I run into him on the golf course. And he said, "I don't know why I cared. The people I respect the most actually made that move already, or they want to." And here's the honest frame. The people who feel like they won this move are the ones who came in and worked from a plan. They didn't downsize their ambition. They just stopped letting a zip code take 13 to 15% of their money. And ArrowCreek isn't the place that people go when they've given up. It's the place where they go when they finally did the math and realized the expensive choice was actually staying. But here's what I want you to understand about ArrowCreek. And it's the thing that surprises most people who have toured high-end communities. And that is, people actually live here. I know. That sounds obvious, but there is a version of a gated community where people park expensive cars inside of expensive garages and then you never see a soul outside. Just big gates with big houses and zero life happening. And that's where ArrowCreek is genuinely different. People are out, they're walking, they're golfing, they're on the pickleball courts, and there are actual conversations happening between neighbors who actually know each other's names. One of my clients called after about 3 weeks of moving in, and it wasn't even about anything real estate related. They just wanted to call and tell me that one of their neighbors brought over a bottle of wine and they ended up sitting on the back porch talking till 11 p.m. She said, when I lived in my California neighborhood for 9 years, I couldn't even tell you the first name of the people who lived to the left. And the amenities here are what you would expect from a full country club. You have a 27-hole golf course, fitness center, pools, pickleball, and a social calendar that would genuinely tire you out if you tried to do all of it. And if you're outdoorsy, you are 30 minutes from Tahoe, skiing, hiking, lake access, and the kind of Saturday that makes your Bay Area colleagues quietly question their choices when you send them photos. The demographics in ArrowCreek skew towards business owners, executives, retirees, and entrepreneurs. There's a lot of Californians who wanted a lot less friction and a little bit more life. These are people who worked hard, built something real, and then decided trading 90 minutes of commuting every day was not a trade-off anymore. Now, here's where I earn my keep. Because there are some things about living in ArrowCreek that I make a point of telling every buyer before they completely fall in love with the views and stop thinking clearly. I'd rather you hear from me now than figure it out in February. And this is the part that neighborhood videos skip completely because it doesn't film as well as those amazing sunsets. And that is, the snow is not decorative. ArrowCreek does sit at a higher elevation than most of Reno. And when that snow comes through, then you're definitely going to end up with more of it than some of the people down in South Meadows. But I'll tell you, the views in winter are truly breathtaking. The driveway, well, that's a different conversation. I have buyers, lovely couple, who moved from the East Bay and who bought a home with a steep driveway because the view at the top was incredible. And with the first major snowfall, they called me from the bottom of the driveway. They had made it out 8 feet and had decided that was enough for today. They are fine now. Snow tires and a decent scraper and a slightly modified relationship with gravity. But it is a real thing, and it was something they didn't think about when they were standing there admiring those views in August. Plan your driveway grade. You're going to need to budget for snow tires. And for the love of everything, do not buy a rear-wheel sports car as your only vehicle. The snow is real and its elevation specific. It's manageable, but with preparation. The wind in ArrowCreek has a personality. Reno locals have opinions about the wind that sounds unhinged until you live through it. And with ArrowCreek's elevation, it means certain sections of that neighborhood get hit harder than others. Your patio furniture will attempt a relocation of its own if you don't weight it down. That's not hypothetical. That's a neighborhood community experience as a whole. So you'll need to ask which direction the house is facing before you fall in love with the backyard views. Your future self will appreciate that question. The next one on the list is the wildlife has won the HOA meeting. We have deer, coyotes, rabbits, and hawks that look at your small dog like it's listed on a menu. One of my clients moved from the Marin area, which is not exactly a nature-free zone, called me completely flustered one morning because a buck walked through his backyard, made direct eye contact with him through the kitchen window, and just stayed. And for the next 40 minutes, he was just standing there looking at him like, I dare you to come out and do something about it. He said it looked at me like I was the uninvited guest. And to be fair, maybe he's right. And part of living there is your landscaping will go into an ongoing negotiation with the deer population. And for the record, the deer are currently undefeated. They've been there longer, and they understand the leverage. But for the record, most people end up loving it once they get past the initial surprise. Because watching a herd move past your deck at sunrise is genuinely one of those moments that makes you remember exactly why you moved here. Just don't leave anything edible out on the patio. Another point is this is not a walk downstairs and get coffee type neighborhood. If walkable coffee shops, nightlife within blocks, and dense urban energy are what your lifestyle runs on, I'm going to tell you honestly. There are other Reno neighborhoods that will serve that much better. It's not a criticism of ArrowCreek, it's just a different lifestyle proposition. ArrowCreek is a drive-to-everything location. And for most people who live there, that is literally the entire point. But if you're coming from San Francisco neighborhood where everything happens within 2 blocks, that shift is going to be real and it's worth naming before you sign. All right, you've stayed this long, which tells me you're serious about this. So let's run the real list. Let's talk about what this place genuinely delivers and what the real trade-offs actually are. Then I'm going to tell you how to figure out whether this is actually the right situation for you or not. So here's the real list. What this place genuinely delivers is the views. The sunsets here are the kind of thing most people post without a filter, and their California friends assume it's been edited. It also has privacy and space with breathtaking room quality that's genuinely hard to find at this price point once you've lived in it. Tahoe access is only 30 to 35 minutes away. And ask anyone here, the first time you drive up Mount Rose and get there that fast, they go, "This is it? This is now officially your commute to the slopes." You also get cooler summers. The elevation here gives that mountain air in July and August when the valley is miserable. Your electric bill will notice. The community here is actually alive. People know each other. This lifestyle gets lived, not just photographed. And the financial math? Well, that's the tax savings alone will fund a completely different trajectory. That's not marketing, that's arithmetic. So here's the things that you should go in knowing. Snow and driveway slopes is a real consideration, but they are completely manageable with the right preparation. It's just not something that you want to wait and discover in December. The HOA cost? Well, it's a luxury community with a luxury pricing. You should budget for it before the emotions of that view kick in. Wind exposure is a real thing, and the lot orientation matters. Make sure you ask those questions before you sign anything. It's not walkable, and it is a drive-to-everything lifestyle. It's a feature here for most people, but a real adjustment for others. And wildlife, they're charming until your landscaping budget becomes a casualty. The deer here have no remorse and no fear of the HOA. That couple from the Bay Area, you know, the ones with the kitchen table with the number on a piece of paper. I talked to them a few weeks ago and they were sitting on their deck watching the city lights come on. And she said something that I've been thinking about since. She said, "I spent so much time worrying that Reno would not be enough. And I didn't realize California stopped being enough a long time ago." That version of this conversation I'll try to have with every relocating buyer before they make a decision this significant. Not whether ArrowCreek's beautiful, you can see that for yourself. And not whether the math actually works, because you can run all those same numbers in about 20 minutes by yourself. The real question is, does it actually fit the lifestyle that you're wanting to build? And that conversation's worth having before you drop $2 million. And if you want to have that conversation, then there's a link below to my calendar. We'll look at your specific situation, the income, the business structure if there is one, the timeline, which communities in Reno actually fit what you're trying to do. My goal's never to sell you a home. My goal is always to make sure you're not solving the wrong problem with a very large check. So hit that subscribe button if you found this useful. I have a lot more Reno breakdown coming, and that is something that I want to make sure you have. I'm Chris Rayner, your go-to realtor for all things Reno. We'll see you on the next one.